ADS is the trade organisation for the aerospace, defence, security and space sectors, and here with me is the Deputy Chief Executive of ADS, Graham Chisnell. Now, how do you see the scale of opportunities in the BRIC countries for this sector?
They're absolutely huge. There's so much growth going out over there. We're very strong in civil aerospace in the United Kingdom, and the BRIC countries just can't get enough airliners over the next 10 or 15 years. So the growth is almost limitless.
Now, in aerospace and defence, do you think that we have the size and the skills and the funding to compete at the speed that the BRIC countries want?
We absolutely have, and we are doing. We are the number one in Europe by value as a sector. We're number two in the world. We've got one of the best supply chains in the world in aerospace. We have the technology. We make all the wings, we design and build all the wings for all Airbus airplanes, for example. We have Rolls-Royce engines, the best in the world, so we absolutely can compete.
Now, what are the relative attractions of Britain as a manufacturing, design and consultancy base?
It's a combination of things. Aerospace and defence is a technology game, and we're very good at playing that. We have some very skilled engineers. We have a history of being innovative on an engineering basis, and we have some very large companies that can feed a very high capability supply chain. So we have the capabilities and we have the skills. A lot more attention is going into apprenticeships, which is very, very good. So I think we're well placed.
Now, if you were talking to an executive from the BRIC countries, how much of a sales job or a PR job do you have to do about Britain, or are they already convinced?
I think they recognise the capabilities. Rolls-Royce is a global brand, Airbus is a global brand. We have to work much harder to get some of the companies lower down in the supply chain to be active participants in the export market. But overall, we're well recognised as being leaders in some of the cleverest parts of the aeroplane.
Do you think because the BRIC countries are so far away that only really the big boys can deal with them, or can smaller niche players trade with them as well?
I think the niche players can trade. It's hard though. It does cost a lot of money, a lot of investment for small companies to get established in the BRIC countries, and it's usually, given the way that the sector works in terms of the marketplace, it's very often better to ride on the back of the success of the big guys.
Graham Chisnell, thanks very much.
A pleasure.
Here at the Department for Business Innovation and Skills, we're going to turn the spotlight now on Martin Baker, which is a manufacturer of ejector seats, one of very few in the world which is in that business. And let's talk to John Buckler, who is the head of commercial there.
Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Now, you deal with the BRIC countries. Now, how is that business going?
Extremely well. We don't do much business with Russia. We'd like to, but they have their own manufacturers, so not them. And unfortunately, with China, we're not allowed to supply for their own indigenous use. But both Brazil and India are major customers of ours. India in particular is probably our fourth biggest customer at the moment, so very, very important for us.
Now, you deal with military aircraft,
yes,
and
yeah.
Why do you think that they come to you for this product?
There is a limited number of choices, and we believe we have the most reliable, safest product in the market, which is what it's all about. We're there to save lives. That is the whole purpose of the ejection seat.
Do you think Britain is particularly good in the aerospace sector?
I think it's a world leader. We have the technology, we have the abilities, and we're prepared to invest in it and do the job properly.
And how is the future looking for you?
For the foreseeable future, extremely good. I mean, we are, plenty of orders and looking very good for the next 3 to 5 years at least. And then we'll obviously look into what we do beyond that.
Well, John Buckler, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, joining me now is Dr. Marcello Grassi, who is Head of Technology at Spirit Aerosystems Europe. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Sarah.
Now, what exactly do you produce?
Well, we are the largest independent supplier of aerostructures into Airbus, Boeing and the big aircraft manufacturers. So we supply effectively aircraft assemblies into Boeing and Airbus, but we're looking more and more at exporting to other countries as well.
Now, you've got this product next to you. Can you talk me through it?
Yeah, this is a carbon fiber spar. So for those of you who are not familiar with aerospace, this is the main beam which keeps the wing in shape into an aircraft structure. So these main beams can be up to 30 meters long, and they have to carry most of the weight of the wing structure. And we're currently working on the 350 program with Airbus to develop a front leading edge carbon fiber 350 spar, which will be about 35 meters long, and will be made out of carbon fibers. It's very lightweight and resistant to any kind of loading conditions. You can tailor your architecture of the fibers so that you can carry the loads in a very efficient way.
Now, you are an American company,
Yeah.
but you operate in Britain, and these are assembled in Britain. Why have you decided to do that?
Well, the company decided strategically to start investing in Europe as well. We started off as a divested company, as a Boeing divested company in Wichita, Kansas, and then from there we went to an expansion path. And strategically, Spirit decided to go into Europe and invest into Europe and acquire the aerostructure site in Prestwick, Scotland, where our main customer is Airbus. So effectively, in one day they became also a supplier of aerostructures into Airbus, whilst before they were only Boeing supplier.
Dr. Marcello Grassi, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Rolls-Royce is a name we've all heard of, and in connection with the aerospace industry, one of the things they make is turbines, which is, I understand, what this item is here. And here to tell me all about it is Alan Pardo, the head of manufacturing strategy. What are we looking at?
So this is a scale model of the Trent 800. So in real life, this would be about 112 inches in diameter. It's obviously a scale model, but it shows the sort of workings of the Trent 800. It shows the basics. If you go around the side, you can see all the turbine. You can see the combustor, which is all cut open so that you can view it. So it's a demonstrator of what the engine is.
Now, your job title, Head of Manufacturing Strategy.
Yeah.
Now, what is your manufacturing strategy?
Do you know, we have lots of strategies. In manufacturing, we've split down all of the manufacturing processes that we run into 38 components. Okay, so there's 38 different strategies for each manufacturing process that we operate across the whole engine. Okay, so if you front of the engine all the way to the back, 38 processes. We have various strategies for each of those processes. Some of those strategies will be stay as we are, become stable, get the processes stable. Some of those strategies will be to invest in new technology, to take cost out, to take weight out, but sometimes to improve performance as well. Every new engine has to improve performance. It has to run hotter, it has to run faster, it has to be more fuel efficient. So there's a lot of technology strategies which are purely about making the engine perform better.
Okay, now we hear that UK manufacturing has had a difficult time over the last, say, 20 years. Is Rolls-Royce such a big name that you sort of can't fail and you're doing fine, or have you felt the pinch?
We've absolutely felt the pinch. What we've had to do is invest a lot of money with the government's help. We've invested a lot of money in research facilities in the UK. So there's a research facility in Rotherham in Sheffield called the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, which Rolls-Royce spends a lot of money every year researching new technology, basically to take cost out. For the UK to remain competitive, we've got to take cost out. The way that we take cost out is to manufacture things faster, better, but to the same quality standards that we've always had, and we have to keep those quality standards a standard and rigid across everything. So, we have felt the pinch, but we're investing a lot of money to make sure that we don't, that we can remain competitive.
Now let's talk to Bombardier Aerospace, who make the wings for aircraft, and they're based in Belfast. And here with me now to talk about that is Gavin Campbell, the engineering director. Now, I know wings are important, but it is all about the wings, isn't it?
It is. The new Bombardier C-Series aircraft is going to be the most environmentally friendly, fuel-efficient aircraft in the market when it enters into service in 2013. And a big part of the performance comes from the new carbon fibre composite wings that we're designing and building in Belfast, along with the new geared turbofan engine from Pratt & Whitney.
Now, how do you find business? Are you still exporting? Is there any particular countries you're exporting to?
We export worldwide. Bombardier is the third largest civil aircraft manufacturer in the world after Airbus and Boeing. And almost all of our business in Belfast is to the export markets. So export is very important to us. Economically, times have been tough, but we're still working strongly. We're very optimistic about the future and how the markets are going.
And how have you ridden out that recession?
We're in a technology-driven market, so we rely on the quality and efficiency of all of our products. We've got a highly competitive market. We operate across the business aircraft and regional aircraft markets, and so that breadth, that spread across the market has given us some protection against the worst of the downturn.
And what are the challenges, do you find, of dealing with the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China?
I think they're very competitive. They're pushing forward very hard. They have a lot of support for their growing industries, and they've got a very competitive cost base. So I think those are probably the main factors that we find challenging.
Well, Gavin Campbell, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm very pleased now to be talking to Mark Prisk, the Minister for Business and Enterprise. Now, we're talking about aerospace. Why do you think the aerospace sector is doing particularly well internationally in Britain?
Well, we are, as a country, the second largest aerospace industry in the world. And that's an important point to bear in mind when some people might argue that maybe we've slipped in that sort of area. Not the case. But what I'm keen to make sure is that actually we build on our strengths. And as we've seen here with the exhibition, we have a great range of capability, knowledge and skills, which actually I think we can look to export, but also look to develop within our existing market.
And talking about manufacturing generally, why do you feel that some British companies are still doing well?
I think there's several reasons. First of all, we are very creative as a country. And you only have to look back through our industrial history to see that actually very often those innovations, those groundbreaking changes have been from the UK. And I think that's an important tradition that we have. So that's an important part of it. The second is that actually we have great strengths in terms of key technology areas. So in aerospace, in composite materials, for example, we're very much one of the leaders in the world, and that puts us in a great place as the aerospace industry and the aviation industry looks to become more competitive and also more fuel efficient. So it's that combination of know-how, creativity and technology that I think makes the UK a really good base for modern manufacturing.
Now, what is the government doing to support British manufacturers?
Well, there's a number of steps really. First of all, we've persisted with our investment through the Technology Strategy Board into those key technological areas. Secondly, we've substantially expanded the apprenticeship program. We're raising it up by 250,000 places over the next 3 years. And indeed, in our first year, we've been able to add an additional 100,000 places. But we've also been wanting to ally those activities together with building our sector know-how and relationship with different areas. So aerospace, pharmaceutical, automotive, marine engineering, to make sure that government and industry are effective partners. So where there are barriers to those areas from growing, we know what to get rid of.
Now, looking at the BRIC countries, why do you think that they want to and should be trading with Britain?
Well, actually, we've been spending a lot of time taking leading politicians, leading ministers to different countries, so Brazil, China, India, and so on. And that's a crucial part of what we think is important that government can do, which is to lead those delegations, particularly in countries where if the government it has a good relationship with us, then our businesses will have a good relationship with theirs. And that's where I think there's some great opportunities. So I've been very encouraged, and you only have to see our contribution, for example, to Airbus, who in turn have sold substantial numbers of aircraft, India, China, to see the opportunities that we have.
And finally, if you were talking to an executive from one of the BRIC countries, what would you be saying to them to sort of sell the idea of the UK?
Oh, I think we have the creativity, we have the technology, and we're a highly competitive country. And we very much have always been a trading nation. And that combination makes us a world beater.
Mark Prisk, thank you very much.
Thank you.